Oh boy. If you listen to last week's episode, the Saints preview, I thought Vegas had the line at like Saints -6. And I was like, oh my God, put all your money on the Giants, not only to cover, but to win. And I apologize to the millions of dollars that I lost, the bettors that listen to this show. That's on me. I take full responsibility. Put it on my tab. Yeah. I did not think we would come out and lay an egg like this. And especially in that second half. I cannot believe the lack of effort that we put on display in the second half. I mean, we essentially gave up with almost half the fourth quarter to play. Yeah, you're down by multiple scores. But Jesus Christ, like your playoff lives are on the line. And so that's why when you hear the sound bites and you hear these players and these coaches talk, especially when we were like what 2-8. When we were 2-8, we got all this talk from Dexter Lawrence, Saquon Barkley, Brian Dable, Wink Martindale. We got all this talk across the board that hey, we're in a bad spot, but we're going to play our best football in November and December. That's when it counts the most. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And a lot of the Giants fan base was like, this is a load of shit. But if that were the case, and they really did believe that, and they thought they had a chance, what the fuck was that on Sunday? Like, what was that effort? I just blown away that you could come out and look that soft, that timid, that scared, that just like lost, confused. I mean, it was a playoff game essentially. And, even though we have a less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs right now, and we need a lot to fall into place for us to make the playoffs, which I'll get into. Yes, I will get into that because I am a fanatic and I have lost my mind when it comes to this football team. And I still believe. If you believe it, you can achieve it, right? But what was that? What the fuck was that? Now, I underestimated the Saints defense, which I can't believe I did, because every time I talked about the Saints this year, I sang their praises up and down. And then I previewed it and I was like, they've lost it. They've lost their edge. Their defense can only do so much. Their offense can't, the defense can't make up for a poor offense. Their offense is average, is underperforming, underachieving. Our defense is on a hot one right now, and we're going to shut them down. And ultimately our offense is going to pull something out of their hat, out of their sleeve, like they did against Green Bay. It's right next to Green Bay. Not sure if you knew. So I think last week's game, it's hard to tell what's reality with this team. Was last week's the week 14 game against the Packers, was that a mirage? Was it like, oh, check out that's a pretty sweet palm tree. Look at that that water looks cool and blue. Is it just a mirage? Like, are the Packers that bad? I mean, we were talking about how hot Green Bay was going into that game. But yet we, across the board, the majority of fans, I think, thought we were going to win. Then the closer we got to game day, and I know that it happens every week, but for this one, it was like, especially like, okay, we got something going, and I think we can pull off the upset, and we did. And so I just thought that momentum was going to carry over to New Orleans. I just thought, all right, defense is going to play at a higher level. They're going to keep us in the game, and then we're going to pull away in the fourth, or we're going to do what we did the previous week, and we're going to drive down the field and win the game. And for a half, it looked like that was the case. I mean, the first half wasn't pretty, but you come away with it down a point. I mean, it was a friggin' modern day miracle that we were able to get 6 points in that first half, considering we had both our we had our starting kicker pull his hamstring, and then our punter got hurt. So, it didn't look like we had our head on right. From the very first drive, like Daniel Bellinger not getting that first down, the first drive, thinking he got the first down. It was like, dude, how did you not get that first down? You catch the ball. There's not a guy within 4 yards of you. You need 2 yards, 3 yards to get the first down. How do you not just barrel forward your big, bold, beautiful ass? Like, just pull forward, dude. You can truck stick these guys. We got a roughing the punter call that extended a drive. Got lucky there. We had a roughing the passer call that we got, not roughing the passer, unnecessary roughness or something like that against Daniel Bellinger, which was not an unnecessary roughness. So, very disappointing. But the fact that if you go back to my reaction to the season opening loss to the Cowboys, I didn't think we were going to win a game the way we played in that game. And I don't know that the confidence got much better after the Cardinals come from behind win. It just felt like, no, this team just ain't got it. But again, it was like, okay, maybe it's a shitty first half, great second half. And we've talked about all the injuries that we've seen to quarterbacks and how it's altered seasons, and how maybe we're just another team with another like up and coming backup quarterback that no one saw being a good performer. You look at Joe Flacco in Cleveland. You look at Jake Browning in Cincinnati. You look at, a bunch of teams had their stars go down, and they've had guys come in as backups, third stringers, and win games. So it's like, why not us? That was essentially the thinking. And we, well, I guess let's just get into it. Honestly, I think we got outcoached in this game. I think they came in with a really shitty game plan to begin with, and it only got worse. I don't think they did any adjustments at halftime, obviously, because we came on the second half flat, and we just looked lifeless. We didn't have Evan Neal. Like, that fucking matters. I really did think our offensive line had turned things around. It's like, all right, we have the same 5 guys starting for the 4th consecutive game or something like that. We're 3-0 with these guys. So, like, these are our guys. Let's ride with them. So I didn't give a shit that Evan Neal was not going to play. Dexter Lawrence was a little dinged up. I didn't realize Justin Pugh had a calf issue, and I think that ultimately really affected his play. Darren Waller looked pretty good. I don't know his snap count, but it felt like he was almost never on the field. It's like, if we're playing for our playoff lives, and why is your number one receiving target, you could argue Saquon is that, but why is your number one receiving target not on the field? You have him on a pitch count? Like, there are no pitch counts anymore. Fuck pitch counts. Like, we're playing for our playoff lives. So that's why I don't think when they say we got playoffs hopes, we have playoff aspirations, we're still in it, we still think we can make the playoffs, you're fucking lying to us, because you just certainly didn't coach like it and you didn't play like it. So I don't know. We're now 1-3 in indoor games this season. We're 1-5 in Brian Daboll's 2 years as coach in indoor games. We're 4-9 in the Superdome and 34-35 in indoor games since 1978. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of indoors. We're outdoor cats, apparently. So I don't like our odds going down to the Superdome. Every time I see that we're playing at New Orleans on the schedule, I almost always draw it up as a loss. But for whatever reason, I thought things would be different this year, and I was dead ass wrong. This is the 4th game in this season in which the Giants did not score a touchdown. The 5th game in which they had no offensive touchdowns. We converted only 2 of 16 third down attempts. It's our second lowest total this season. of our 16 attempts, we faced a 3rd and long on 12 of them, 7 yards or more. So we talked about last week in the recap of the Packers game, not a lot of 3rd and long situations, 3rd and manageable all the time. It always seemed like on 1st or 2nd down, we're at least getting 5 yards. And so we're always set up for like a 3rd and 5, less than 7 yards. That was for sure not the case in this game. And that's because, I didn't realize this. The Saints defense had the league's 9th best 3rd down defense heading into the game. Oversight on my part. Tommy DeVito was taken down 4 times in the first half alone and was sacked 7 times total. He's the first Giants quarterback with 3 consecutive games of 20-plus attempts and 100-plus passer rating since Eli Manning in 2014. And he's the first Giants rookie to do it. He completed 20 of 34 passes for 177 yards and with a 72.8 passer rating. So, step back for Tommy D. Entering week 15, the Saints had allowed the lowest opponent passer rating in the NFL this season, 74.7. So you had to feel, I don't know that a lot of people were thinking that Tommy DeVito was going to come out and do what he did last game, but I didn't think he would regress that much, where it felt like every time he's dropping back, he's holding onto the ball way too long. And then when the pocket is basically like there's no air in the pocket, he tries to scramble, puts his head down, and it's like, no, you're not going anywhere, dude. The time to scramble was a second to go when you actually had a semblance of a pocket. When there was some kind of avenue and window to creep through, and slip through, you missed it. And now you're just getting swarmed. So I think a lot of those sacks were on him, and I still was not a fan. The play calling sucked. I was not a fan of the play calling at all. It's like, if you know that the Saints have that kind of 3rd down defense, don't get in 3rd and long situations. Put us in better situations so they're more manageable, and you don't have to rely on DeVito dropping back and having to wait for passing routes to develop, And, when he did scramble, he never looked down the field. Never. Which sucks because, if you look at from the behind the offense, that camera angle, the all 22, if you will, when you look from behind the offense, when they show those replays and he scrambles, it's like Jalen Hyatt wide open down the left sideline. So-and-so wide open on the right, so-and-so wide open on the left. So it's like, he just didn't see guy. He wasn't looking. He was looking to run and pick up yards, and he wasn't looking up. So interesting, because you look at the Packers game and it was like he would drop back, and if he just seemed like he made quicker decisions. He would process it quicker. He was like, okay, first not open, second not open, I'm gone. This one was like first not open, second not open, third not open, fourth not. It's like, nah, dude, you don't have that kind of protection. All right. I know you're Italian, but you do not have the backing of the family. So yeah, a lot of this was on DeVito. And a lot of it goes on the offensive line too. Pugh's hurt. Schmitz stunk. The 2 of them couldn't pick up a stunt to save their lives. So is a recipe for disaster. We allowed pressures on 36% of passing snaps. Yikes. Saquon Barkley just couldn't do anything. He had that one sick catch where DeVito was scrambling to the right, and Barkley went up and caught it, had to turn and catch it. I want to say almost one-handed, but it was like right by the sideline, one of the better catches I've seen him ever make. And that was about the only highlight for him. 8 yards on 6 carries heading into the half, 14 yards on 9 carries for the game. He did eclipse 1,000 scrimmage yards for the 4th time in his 6-year career. So kudos to him on that. But like I said, they just really gave up. Barkley was nowhere to be found for most of the 4th quarter, I felt like. And it's like, this is the time where he needs to shine, you know? We completed just 1 of 9 third downs in the first half. We were 2 of 15 overall. Yeah. So, I mean, like, phew. And the drop passes didn't help things either, man. Darius Slayton with a drop, Jalen Hyatt with a drop. It's just like, what is going on? It just felt like we came, you saw from early on, and even pregame, the Saints just had like a certain confidence to them, you know? And I mean, the fact that they did that the hand gesture with the pinch fingers, the Tommy DeVito signature celebration, every time they sacked Tommy DeVito, so goddamn dumb, dude. And I know I'm a Giants fan, I'm biased, but like Tommy DeVito is an undrafted rookie who was a third string emergency quarterback forced into action that no one thought was going to be any good. They literally wouldn't let him throw a fucking pass against the Jets for more than a half and a quarter, almost half and a quarter. So like, it's a good story. It's a great story. But it's like the Saints must have watched some kind of film and tape, and they were like, "We're gonna destroy this motherfucker, and we're gonna let him know about it." And maybe that was part of the game plan. Is like, we're gonna do the celebration. We're gonna get in his head. I don't know, but they certainly were not scared of him at all, and they made sure that everyone knew about it. But it was like they're doing that shit, and we just like. There's just no reaction from us. There's no emotion. There's nothing. The offense stunk, but it's really the defense that helps us win games, right? It's very rare, like, especially this season. I don't know that there's ever been a game where the offense has won it for us, really won it for us. Cause it's like, if you put like our offensive numbers up with like most other defenses, I think we're not winning a single goddamn game. But I don't understand the game plan from Wink Martindale. Well, going back to Kafka for a hot second. 2nd and 17, you hand the ball off. That's just, that right there is the epitome of what I'm talking about with the coaching and the game plan and the scheme. What the fuck are you doing running the ball on 2nd and 17? And a poorly designed run play, I might add. Like, we're just going to shotgun hand it off and run it up the middle? What the fuck? At least get a little crazy with it. There was like a lot. We saw so much creativity the previous week. A flea flicker that was, it could have been disastrous, but turned out for the best. And then this week, it was like, there's just nothing. There's no creativity. There's no like motion. There's nothing to help him out. Once you see 4 sacks in the first half, you got to adjust, calibrate, dude. That's why I don't think Kafka will be back. I just don't like, what are you thinking, man? Oy. I mean, the play calling was atrocious from start to finish. The defense was not much better in terms of the scheme. Why the fuck were we playing zone defense so much? So much. If there's one thing that I hate watching NFL games, it's watching a mushy zone defense get shredded. I mean, it's just, it's so fucking, 10 times out of 10, dude, would much, much rather get beaten man to man. Much rather. At least you have a fucking shot. At least you're trying. This is Odin defense. You just have motherfuckers standing around. It's infuriating to watch. Just seeing guys just stand there. Trying to read Derek Carr, who is not a rookie, dude. It's like, I can understand if you want to bait a rookie into throwing something. Maybe that kind of shit would work against a Jordan Love or something like that. It's not going to work against Derek Carr, dude. What? I mean, like, they put up a graphic where he's one of 4 quarterbacks in NFL goddamn history to throw for 3,000 yards each season in his first 10 seasons. One of four. And I know he's caught a lot of shit over his career, especially with the Saints, because they have looked inept and they looked like they were falling apart the previous week against the Panthers. But there's no better way to get right than to face a zone defense. And how many times during that goddamn game did you see our defenders, after a big play or a touchdown, look at each other and be like, well, I thought you were supposed to be there, and I'm and it's like, if you just play man, there's no question, my guy. That's your guy. You cover him, and that's it. And if you get beat, so be it. The zone defense, I don't get it. Especially from Wink Martindale. Dude, we're fucking 5-8. We're 5-8 and going this game. We have a very slim chance of making the playoffs anyway. How about we start playing like it? Fuck it. Throw caution into the wind. I don't understand why we're being cautious at 5-8. We have such a remote chance of making the playoffs. You might as well just go balls to the wall, my guy. Why the fuck are we playing soft, timid defense? We saw the same exact thing against the fucking Eagles in the divisional game. And that drove me up a goddamn wall, because we're not supposed to be in this position. No one thought we were supposed to make the playoffs. It's a rebuilding year. We pull off an upset win against the Vikings, even though a lot of people thought they were frauds. Just go balls to the wall. Everyone and their mother knows that we're not a contender. Talent can't execute the kind of game plan that I guess the coaches want. But if you're going to go out guns blazing, dude. And they didn't do that. It's such a sorry, sad way to end a season. To go, and I hope to God they don't do that against the Eagles. At least what I appreciated about that 49ers game is we didn't have a fucking shot in hell of winning that game. We didn't have Saquon. We didn't have Andrew Thomas. We needed our defense to come up big. And we blitzed the fuck out of Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy handled it. Kudos to him. I'd rather do that and see if he can handle it than not do it and just let him pick us apart with these fucking wide open guys in his own defense. To not put any pressure on receivers, on running backs, on tight ends, on the quarterback, to not put any pressure on anyone to make a play. And just say, I mean, your gift. I mean, I know Christmas is right around the corner, but Jesus Christ, you're gift wrapping chunk plays left and right. Our streak of at least one interception ended at 4 games. We had 0 takeaways in this game. I don't even think we came fucking close to getting a takeaway. Jason Pinnock had our only sack. Where was that for the rest of the game? Where the hell was that? Saints only allowed pressures at a league best 15.6% of passing snaps. Yeah. So that might have glossed over that in the preview. They have an above average offensive line. And it has become clear now that the Giants' defensive line cannot generate pressure against above average offensive lines. So back to the drawing board with the defensive front. Saints converted 6 of 11 third downs and controlled the clock for almost 33 minutes, scoring 17 unanswered points in the second half. They converted 37 point. They were going into this game. They converted only 37.5% of their third downs, which was 19th best in the league. So why couldn't we get off the field, dude? Why? I'll tell you why. And this is without Chris Olave, by the way. I guess probably their number 1 receiver. This is without Chris Olave. How do you let that happen? I'll tell you how. Zone defense. These next 3 games, we should not play a lick of zone defense. It should be all man and it should be all blitzing. And if your guys don't have the stamina or the endurance to keep up with that and to play like that, you got to rotate. Keep the guys fresh. I don't care. I don't care who's out there. Play man. I would much rather get beat that way than to see. It is, as a fan, it is so like awful and just like demoralizing to see a guy score a wide open touchdown in the end zone and have two guys standing 5 yards away each, just looking at each other. But like, you remember when we said, like, I thought if he's on that side, it's like, no, dude, just that's your guy. Cover him. Derek Carr completed 82% of his passes, 23 to 28 for 218 yards, 3 touchdowns for a 134.8 passer rating. It was his highest passer rating since 2018. It's the highest completion percentage, 82%, by a Giants opponent since Baker Mayfield, completed 84.3 on December 2020. So there's something about these mid to late December games that it's just like right before Christmas. It's like, I don't know, guys. I guess they have like they haven't got their shopping done, and they're thinking, I forgot to get this for grandmama. We allowed 90 rushing yards from their running backs. So, yeah. And Adoree Jackson can get the hell off this team. I cannot wait for this guy to get off our team. I'm not going to use hyperbole and exaggerate and say like he's one of the worst free agent signings we've ever had. There have been far worse. But I would say, and I don't think I would get many detractors or much disagreement on this. One of the worst free agent contracts. Did not play up to his contract, right? Hurt a lot of the time. Hardly any interceptions. Was rarely a lockdown guy. And this season especially, it's just, I don't know if he's lost a step or what, but it's like, I mean, they moved him into the fucking slot and started a 6th-round draft pick over him to start the season. By the way, what the fuck happened to Trey Hawkins? Isn't that banana land? This guy in training camp was like the gem, the dark horse. Like this guy, I've never seen anything like this, where it's like no one was expecting him as a 6th-round draft pick to crack the starting lineup or to get much playing time. And this motherfucker was the starting CB2 on the outside. He started 3 games, and since then, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know what the snap count is on this, but like, just nothing. Hardly anything. I don't know. That is fucking weird. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, where it's like training camp, he's off the charts to the point where we make him a starter over Adoree Jackson. And I think he started 3 games and was benched and has not seen the field that much since then. We have Cordell Flott playing over him. We have Darnay Holmes is the alternate playing over him. Woof, dude. So that to me is an indictment on the coaching staff, is it not? It also makes the training camp look. I've said this a million times. Training camp is pointless. It's useless. Like anything you see in training camp is like, just don't believe it. And if you fall for it next training camp and next season, that's on you. I am now of the camp that training camp means means nothing. Fucking defense. If we come out against the Eagles and play zone defense, I'm turning off the goddamn TV. I just cannot be subjected to that again. And everyone on Twitter is saying it. Play man and blitz. Play man and blitz. We obviously don't have the capacity to play zone effectively. And why we're playing against Derek Carr in the first place is fucking banana land. All right. On his special teams, Fat Randy pulled his hammy. He did hit a 56-yard field goal with 5 minutes into the game. It was the second longest of his 216 career field goals. They put up a graphic right before he kicked that. First of all, he looks like he was going to shit his pants again, like he did against the Packers. Same thing. They cut to him, zoom in close up, and he looks so goddamn worried, which is just not great for confidence. It's basically a coin flip with him on field goal attempts of 50 yards or more. He was 14 of 28 heading into that attempt. So I thought he was going to shank it. Turns out he hits it. His previous career high is 57 yards. So he just missed that. Was the Giants' first long distance field goal since Graham Gano's 51-yarder at Miami on October 8th. So you'd have to think that has played a part. I think it hasn't. Has it killed us in any of our games? I mean, the 3 games we won, I guess no. I don't know. It'd just be nice that like when we get to the 40, we know we have a shot of scoring. And I don't think. And now that he's hurt, I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do. And the Scottish Hammer also got hurt, but he did make his first field goal attempt. It was his second field goal attempt. His first field goal attempt was for the Browns against the Jets 2 days after Christmas 2020 in MetLife. Was also on the final play of the first half. It was shortened to the right. But he smoked that ball. Whoa. Like that would have been good from 61, probably. I think. It was a 40-yard field goal, right? And he hit it. It was like 3/4 up the net. Halfway up the net, 3/4 up the net. Yeah. He would have nailed that from 61. But then he got hurt. So it's like any idea of like us attempting something from 40, getting to the 45. I was like, let's just, as long as we're just scoring, I don't care that we're not scoring touchdowns, because I thought that the defense was going to continue, their first half trend of like holding the Saints. And I thought we could have maybe won with field goals. I was like, let's just get 3. Just get 3. This was the first game in which 2 different Giants players kicked field goals since 1994, when David Tridwell kicked a 19-yarder and Brad DeLuiso added a 49-yarder in a 10-6 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's wild that we carried 2 kickers for like, I want to say 2-3 seasons. That was wild. And the fact that I don't know why we kept David Treadwell. Because of his accuracy. Like Brad DeLuiso had the cannon leg. He was the kickoff guy. And I guess they just assumed like he just is not accurate. But yet I vividly remember him having multiple long ass game-winning field goals or clutch field goals. I don't know. David Treadwell. My God. That was a Dan Reeves signing. The first season. This was the first season since 1985 in which 3 different players kicked field goals for the Giants. So we now have Gano, Bullock, and Gillen. Jamie Gillen, who looks like he's going to the Pro Bowl and deserves it, I think. And I apologize for shitting on him all of last season. He's done a bang up job this year. We'll see how hurt he is. This game is good against the Eagles is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, that's the Saints game.